I'm Dana Jacobson from CBS Saturday Morning. Welcome to The Dish. Spices and herbs take center stage in today's featured dishes as we explore Indian cuisine in the U.S. We'll take you to a New York restaurant, introducing diners to lesser-known Indian street food, and grab takeout from an unexpected spot, a truck stop along a Wyoming highway. But first, Michelle Miller meets a pastry chef turned restaurateur whose delectable sweets and savory treats set apart her eatery in New York City's Seaport District.
We start at the end.
Mithai is Indian confections.
Dishing about desserts and the finely crafted masterpieces of pastry chef turned restaurateur Surbi Sani.
Tastes like peanut butter, right? Mm-hmm. But it's chickpea flour.
Wow, it has like a little smoky consistency.
Some of these sweets are made with condensed milk, others with lentil or nut flour.
And a lot of these have been like part of my childhood, and every one of those sweets that we have in our boxes has a story to tell.
Bite-sized memories and other delights featured at Tagmo, the restaurant Sani opened during the pandemic. All inspired by her homeland, India, and the father whose footsteps she'd hoped to follow.
My dad is an artist, and I wanted to be an artist. I didn't get into an art school. I got into hotel management, and my dad was like, well, you can always be a chef. He's like, food is an art. And then this was the year 1992. It was unheard of. When I started working in 95 in hotels in India, there were maybe a total of 10 women chefs in the entire Delhi. Like, I was one of the few women that were making a career in the kitchen.
Not many dads back then pushed their daughters into the male-dominated culinary industry, but hers was special, and so was her timing.
My first job was at the Sheraton Hotel in New Delhi, and they were opening an all-women's kitchen at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, the chef had that idea.
An idea that became Sani's dream, reimagined when she came here to study food and anthropology at NYU.
It makes me feel like as if I'm in India, of course, because there's so many Indian places around here.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's very global, right?
She settled into Jackson Heights, Queens, an enclave for South Asian immigrants.
Oh my gosh, I can go get a sari.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Go shopping.
And began working her way through New York's Indian dining scene, including at the Michelin-starred Devi.
I love the chicken sauces.
She comes back to Queens regularly to eat.
Look at how there's like a little bite of everything in there.
And grocery shop at Patel Brothers.
So if you want essence of India, you come to a store like this.
You definitely should.
A slice of home that helps source her restaurant.
What is this?
This is chickpea flour.
What is ghee?
Basically clarified butter. It doesn't have any sort of additives. In some ways it's pure fat, but it's actually good for you.
Okay.
That's what they tell you. That's what they say.
I will take your word for it. Every nut and every seed you can imagine, it's here.
It's pretty amazing, right?
God, Punjabi mix.
Oh, that's like a mouth cleanser.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna get this.
It's Sani's bi-monthly routine, going between her old digs and Lower Manhattan's South Street Seaport, home to her restaurant, named for the Bhutanese word for tigress. Sani is a proud queer chef, creating opportunity and space, just like her very first experience in that all-women's kitchen in New Delhi, nearly 3 decades ago.
I also wanted to bring that sensibility of eating on the table. Just kind of have a conversation of who are the homemakers, what's the real recipes, how have we been eating as Indians, and how is that like evolving through the centuries, and where are we today?
Her dishes are a culinary tour through the diverse regions of India, home to more than 1.3 billion people.
I grew up in the north, and so for me to like make South Indian spices or Bengali spices was certainly new. And I practiced and honed my skill in the last few years, and I've brought this all to the table here today.
Like Kata Meeta Chata.
This is sort of my own creation, and it is mangoes, some jicama, chickpeas that is tossed in a devil's chutney as well.
You're not having any?
I'm going to have some.
Yes, you must eat with me.
Chat means, by the way, to lick, and like anything that is
really?
on the street. Yes, anything that's on the street and you're like licking your fingers is chat. And then we have what we call as sabudana vada, which is Bombay street food, and that is of course saag paneer.
Oh, this is my favorite.
And bread rolls stuffed with paneer, green chilies, and onions with a tomato chili sauce.
This was our breakfast so many times.
This is breakfast?
We go from breakfast back to that classic Indian dessert.
Okay, so tell me which one you think I'm gonna like the best. Point it. I'm not looking. So I'm gonna try each one.
Starting with chocolate burfi, caramel burfi, and a few others, including this one, a kaju cutlet made with cashew nuts.
What one was your favorite? See?
You
I said,
Oh my gosh, I love it. This is so delicious.
Up next, a pit stop along Wyoming's Interstate 80 for some flavorful fare. This is The Dish. Laramie, Wyoming might not be top of mind when thinking about Indian cuisine, but rest assured, the authentic flavors keep people coming back for more. Here's Jim Axelrod.
Hello. What do you suggest?
Behind this hole in the wall, at this hole in the wall in Laramie, Wyoming, is a you-won't-believe-it situation from the world of truck stop cuisine.
If you'd bet me, I would have bet $100 there'd be no decent food of any kind in here.
Yeah, well, she would have lost that bet. Just off exit 290 on I-80, the Indian food Mintu Pander and his staff are cooking up in this small kitchen behind the window guarantees that.
This smells like we're in Mumbai, not in Laramie.
Not in Laramie, no doubt.
Just a few feet away from the motor oil, the military hats, the trucker shirts.
You can smell
That's
it
a
off.
very familiar smell for Indian food.
That's it.
That's what
Our
that is.
storage shelves full of turmeric, coriander, and other spices maybe you haven't heard of.
This is a leaf. It's called kasuri methi. I mean, if you start putting this on, you will not eat anything without it.
There's a rice steamer with no off switch, an always full pot of chai, and the soul of any Indian kitchen, a clay oven, the tandoor.
The tandoor, the flavor goes in the meat, not out of the meat. Like if you put on a grill, everything kind of drips down. This way the heat is all around. It's surrounded by the heat.
When Pander bought this truck stop in 2014, it came with a griddle for hot dogs and hamburgers.
That's all you need? That's all I need. All right, thanks, man.
But figuring truckers could get those up and down I-80, he went with a menu they wouldn't find anywhere else.
Did they ever come in and say, all you got's Indian food, and I want meatloaf, I want a hamburger, I want a strip steak?
So then we tell them, hey, try this. You're gonna have that on the next stop anyway.
Just mild spicy, not so really spicy.
99 out of 100, they would call again, hey, I want something what I ate last time. That stuff was delicious. I want that meal. I don't know what it was named, but this guy, he gave it to me. I think it's number 29.
You have all this today or what?
Good.
Yeah? Let's eat.
From cross-country truckers,
I don't know how to rate it, you know.
1 to 10.
I mean, I'd say it's probably, good 9. I mean.
How's it going?
to locals like Sheriff's Deputy Bill Yates.
If this is the area I'm patrolling, I know where I'm going to stop to eat lunch.
Mintu's food has been a hit. Deputy Yates is partial to both the yellow curry and the broader field of vision that comes with it.
It's bringing the world here rather than keeping our world small.
Strictly speaking, the restaurant accounts for a small part of Mintu's revenue. But that's not how Mintu speaks or thinks.
I would say 5 to 10% at the most, 10%.
So why bother?
This is not a whole picture of the food. The people come in, get fuel, other stuff. So they would come in and spend $500-600 in fuel because they know they can get their meal they desire from last 800 miles here.
He's opened another spot in Nebraska and a third in New Mexico. Turns out there's some money in all these smells and tastes, especially with the changing face of trucking, since nearly 19% of long-haul truck drivers in America are now immigrants.
No surprise for you that you can recreate all that stuff in the middle of a truck stop on I-80?
Well, that was the plan, so we succeeded.
All it took was for Mintu Pander to trust his gut and those of hungry truckers driving by.
Most Indian food in America is adapted from recipes native to the country's northwestern corner. But at Dhamaka, a restaurant on New York City's Lower East Side, patrons can sample dishes from regions throughout the diverse nation. Michelle Miller sat down with the restaurant's owner and chef and got a taste.
On the Lower East Side of Manhattan, the hot ticket in town is a table in this corner of the historic Essex Market. Not even owner Ronnie Mazumdar and chef Chintan Padya
We have a policy where I can't take a reservation.
can maneuver a last-minute reservation here.
I can book a month in advance. I can put a request in for a month in advance and get it like a normal person.
Yeah.
But I cannot walk in a day before and say that I need a table tomorrow. I can't.
So basically, this is my shot.
Yeah.
Dhamaka has ignited a mantra, unapologetically Indian. And no wonder, the name itself means explosion.
The goal is to demystify Indian food. I feel that if we don't really put out there who we really are, we can't blame people for not loving it.
In bringing their restaurant to life, the duo keep to their roles.
I'm the business side of it, he's a chef.
He cooks when we want to scare away people. That's the only time the guy cooks.
And you're okay with this description?
Yes, we both know our weaknesses and our strengths. And what we don't do is we don't step into each other's business. We give each other that utmost trust.
Tell me some, was the graffiti part of the aesthetic?
It wasn't. We tried our best to clean all of these up. At some point we stopped because we said, you know what? This is Lower East Side. Let it be.
The Lower East Side has long serviced the spectrum of newcomers to this nation. The Essex Market has been an institution since being established 80 years ago as a grocery hub for Jewish and Italian immigrants. It closed before the pandemic and relocated across the street with Dhamaka front and center.
You know, I guess in the end, it's not about if the restaurant is big, small, all the accolades, take everything away. What you really have is a couple of us immigrants just sharing our cuisine in the way we want to. And I think that makes us no different than anybody else that's in the market, and that's what we're celebrating.
Mazumdar moved to New York from Calcutta when he was 12, Pandya from Mumbai in 2013. They opened their first restaurant together in 2017 and own 3 more, all under the banner of Unapologetic Foods.
I was also that kid that was trying to fit in high school or junior high and felt ashamed for what the food was being cooked at my home. So I would tell my mom not to cook that fish curry because my friends are coming home. I've been through that, as if like there's something I'm doing wrong. And I think it's not just me. Every single immigrant in this country shares a similar emotion. And somewhere there came a point for both of us. It was that I think it's time we really share who we are.
The result? What they call provincial dishes inspired by Pandya's travels across India, where he sampled food from street carts and homes in small villages.
But I was cooking to impress others, and I think the day you stop doing that and start cooking what you love to eat, the product changes.
You're sharing it.
Sharing it. This is what I want to eat. It's a real dish. It's not like I want to sell you this. No, it's something that I love to eat. Do you want to be part of that experience?
For this duo, unapologetic Indian cuisine looks like this.
Spice, meat on the bone, fish on the bone, and you start to see the vessels that they're cooked in.
On our table, we have pressure cooker pulao.
Now, when you go to a regular restaurant, when you eat a pulao, it's cooked rice and cooked chicken. But this one is actually made from raw rice. It only gets cooked when you order it.
Murg kofta, a chicken meatball stuffed with an egg.
And that's a cashew-based sauce. This is dal tadka. Dal is lentil, tadka means tempering. So this tempering is done table side in a regular setting. This is called chapati.
Chapati.
Yeah, this is one of the most common breads that we eat, and that's a paratha.
Pork salad, house-made paneer,
We only have one kind of a cheese, a fresh cheese, which is a paneer.
and whole fried pomfret.
Oh my gosh, that's perfectly seasoned.
An Indian menu as diverse as the country and its 1.3 billion residents.
It is 3 times the population of America. But if you consider the land, it is 1/3. So it's a very dense populated country, and the cuisine keeps on changing every few miles or 50, 60 miles.
So when you think of Indian food, you're essentially trying most of the stuff from Northwest.
Got it.
And you're contributing that as all of India. What the purpose of this restaurant is to put a spotlight on those regions that are overlooked. We call this is the other side of India. Oh, you're eating that together with
But
your
this
hands.
is what
Look
we
at
used
you.
to do.
Man, look
You
at
know?
you. Oh boy. You're getting there.
Pandya showed me how to make one of his favorite street foods.
We are doing this dish, it's called papri chaat. It's with flour, little bit of, spices, everything inside it,
Okay.
and it's deep fried. And chaat is like a generic word for a street food in India.
Crumbled potatoes, tamarind chutney,
Excellent, little bit more. Then we have the sweetened yogurt,
yogurt
is
sauce,
spiked with
crisps,
chili
and what
red
Pandya
sauce.
calls
The magic spice, the spice blend.
I like spice.
That's it, perfect.
Not too much.
So take it in, take all the layers.
Okay, I'm feeling the heat now.
I told you.
and the customers are eating it up too. A testament to this team's authenticity as they change the face of Indian cuisine.
What people want to feel is first something that's real. So all we can do is put what's real, what's our truth, with our integrity out there on the table. And once people feel that, I think it will inspire a whole new generation of people that will start to think that this is okay.
After the break, how one Indian chef helped feed his home country during the pandemic. Vikas Khanna has done it all. He's opened restaurants internationally, hosted TV shows, and written dozens of cookbooks. But when the world shut down in 2020, he focused on only one thing: feeding India from halfway around the world. Jim Axelrod has more.
In a makeshift kitchen on the terrace of a New York City apartment,
these are one of the most interesting peppercorns in the world.
Chef Vikas Khanna's attention to detail is on full display, as is his trademark drive to get things right. So how many versions of this dish did you go through in development?
7 in seasonings, 11 in terms of plating.
Looking at his pan-seared roasted squash with yogurt and beetroot powder, it's hard to argue with his approach, combining the tastes of his grandmother's Indian kitchen with classical French training to develop his own distinctive South Asian cuisine.
I like to combine Indian flavors and incorporate them in almost in a creative way.
And open some of the hottest restaurants going in New York and Dubai, and soon Beijing and Singapore.
But that is what the purpose of cooking is now. You should be cross the borders.
These days, crossing borders
Every woman gets this one bag.
is all Vikas Khanna thinks about.
Lentils, we're looking at 10 kgs.
Getting help to as many of the 400 million people in India forced into poverty by COVID as he can.
That is the true meaning why you became the chef. That is the reason that you were given all these trainings to be that one, to understand hunger so deeper.
And then to do something about it.
Find a solution. There is always a solution.
Chef Vikas! Leveraging his fame back home as a Michelin-starred chef, author, film director, and entrepreneur, Vikas started Feed India. Did you have any idea the size of the undertaking when you got started?
Do you think, Jim, anyone could envision the magnitude of this pandemic in the beginning?
He's assembled a coalition of food producers, distributors, even bureaucrats.
So they came on board. There was no financial transaction. Okay, what do you want? We want 100,000 kgs of rice. Okay, sir, it's coming here.
And from half a world away,
Amritsar is right on the border of India and Pakistan.
mobilized an army.
I put satellite kitchens together in 6 hours And we had the food on the trucks in 8 hours.
Thank you.
Feed India has provided 50 million meals so far.
50 million meals.
50.
It's an extraordinary number.
They're served in shelters, orphanages, and from gas stations on roads where people are walking to work.
You are 7,000 miles from where you grew up. It's 9.5 hours time difference. How can you manage the logistics when you're so far away?
This is my mission, and I am not moving my eyes off anything.
The lentils were done very creatively.
For now, Khanna has put all the other parts of his cooking empire on hold, with the voice of his mother always in his ear.
Everything you ever sold or got your awards, everything belongs to every single person in this country. You just took it and you served it to the world. So don't give me this excuse that this is not your problem.
So your mom was reminding you you have an obligation to do
Duty.
this.
She said this is your duty to feed India. That is the word where Feed India comes from.
He is seeking to nourish on a grander scale, filling the stomachs of millions in India, as well as his own soul here in New York.
You've written dozens of cookbooks, cooked for presidents. You've produced a movie. Where does this effort rank for you in terms of satisfaction?
Number 1.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Dana Jacobson. We'll see you next time for another helping of The Dish.